Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching/listening to the Relentless Trading Lounge. This week's podcast coming to you on Spotify and YouTube is a special one. We have one of our members who is going to talk to you about his journey with Relentless, his journey with trading, his journey with prop trading. And I will introduce him in a moment. But first of all, hello, Vicky Dean. How are you?
Hello, Andrew. Yes, I'm good. Thanks.
You are sporting the red
for this
cap
one.
because you're a Man United
Yes,
fan.
I am. The red one today.
Yeah.
Absolutely never. Red for Liverpool. There's no other.
We're not
red
going to
team
mention
in
Scotland
this,
and
this
the
world.
Euros whenever you're watching this. Although by the time this gets released, England would have played their third game.
England would have won the Euros.
Should be in between qualifying and when England win the Euros. Anyway, enough about the Euros and ourselves. Welcome to Jack. Give us a
hello.
Give us a
Hi.
wave. So, huge thank you, first of all, for agreeing to be interviewed. Sounds a bit more extreme and formal than it is, but yeah, exactly. Generally, just chew the fat with us two clowns. But thanks for jumping on. And first of all, I'm just going to dive straight in with congratulations. You are now a six-figure funded trader. How does that sound when people say it to you?
Well, to be honest, the first person who has said it to me sounds pretty fucking good. So, yeah. I've said it myself in my head, but it doesn't sound. It sounds better actually when someone else says it. So yeah,
it's often the way. It's like when someone else makes you a sandwich. It's always better than when you made a sandwich.
Yeah, a cup of tea.
yeah, exactly. But slightly better and slightly more financially beneficial too. Before we sort of dive into your trading journey, could you just give us a brief overview, like 2 to 3 hours max, of who you are, where you were born, where you grew up, education, jobs, partners, kids, any of that jazz? What's your name? Where'd you come from? If you're old enough to remember blind date, as I am.
Yes, just to think. Don't make me feel any old, but yeah. So I'm Jack. I'm from Sheffield. Born and bred, lived here pretty much. I had a stint in London for 2 years, but originated, probably tell from the accent, I'm always Sheffield through and through. I'm just what I would say, just quite your typical average bloke. Love football, love drinking. Not like I'm not a raging alcoholic, but like a drink, like football. I'm a massive.
I was going to say, cheers to that.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, I said that I'm drinking a cup of tea.
Look at him, right on cue. Oh,
I have to get this in, but I'm a massive Sheffield Wednesday fan as well. So up the Owls.
Up the Owls.
Oh yeah.
Did they come up this? Honestly, I'm not being rude. Are they Championship?
Yes, just.
Okay.
Anybody who's followed the Championship will understand how we just clung on by it was the last game we managed to stay up by. We were at the bottom of the table throughout the entire season, but then this wizard, as I call him, Danny Roll, came in and got us out the bottom three on the last day of the season and
happy days.
Absolutely.
That's a nice story. It almost
does,
like
yeah. It really does. Like, honestly, it's unbelievable. But yeah, many ups and downs. Being a Wednesday fan, I can promise you that. I'm a typical day-to-day job. I'm a delivery driver, so I'm self-employed technically. Do a lot of delivery driving for Amazon predominantly.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're quite big, I think, in the US as well.
They're doing all right. Yeah, they're doing all right.
But yeah, like I said, when I say typical sort of bloke, that's it. I've been working, well, ever since I've left school. My education-wise, I've not got any degrees, no university. I actually dropped out my second year of college. Went straight because I didn't really want to go on to university, so I went straight into work, where I actually started in sales. For a complete change of job, I know, but I started off in sales on computers indoors, and then I ended up outdoors, and here I am again indoors. So yeah, it's been a bit of a slight roller coaster, you can call it, in terms of my career path. But I've never really had sort of stability, I guess you could say. Like, I've never been, I know your typical normal job, you know, if you're a teacher or, you know, you worked in that sort of
career-based stuff.
Career-based, yeah, where you're a joiner builder, whatever. But I've never really, like, I don't know, not really had, I guess, guidance is whatever you could call it, or yeah, but I was told work hard, but never really in terms of what to do or where I was going. So yeah, and that's when I actually stumbled upon. Well, it was actually, and I know you said about kids. It was actually my daughter. I've got a 5-year-old, well, nearly 5-year-old. I say it's next month, with less than a month actually. It's getting close, 24th. She'll be 5 next month, and I basically come from a background of where like my dad wasn't really present, but not that I'm annoyed or anything about it, but I wanted him around a lot more. I understood why he wasn't, and it was because obviously he was working hard, he's working away a lot, and I always said to myself, "There's got to be another way. You've got to be a way of making some money without basically spending so much time away." And I don't want to be that dad who spends a lot of time away and not be there for my daughter. Because I don't mind saying, I don't want to get too deep and personal, but I am separated from my daughter's mum, so I don't get to spend every day with her. So the time I do get with her is precious, and you know, I want to make full advantage of it, and I always want to be present when I do have her. So yeah, that's sort of, I guess, leads me into how I came across this, because I actually, and I don't know how, I think we used to do something similar, me and Pete. We did I was looking at ways of how to make money, and it was something through utility warehouse, which we did. I'm not sure if I can name drop, but
you can.
Yeah, that's what
you can.
Yeah,
we've all done the MLM route. It's fine.
Yeah. So I went down that road, and I thought, oh yeah, you know, this might be a good way. You know, a bit of time on my hands, make a few bits of money here and there. But for one reason or another, it didn't quite work out. I think it was as time consuming as probably having a job as well. And when you've got a job and doing that, I know a lot of people make this, I can't find time, but you did need probably quite a lot of time as well as your job. So it didn't work out for me. And then that's when I already had Pete as a friend on Facebook, and I saw him posting a few things, and I'm just like, obviously curiosity takes over, and you're like, okay. And you know, I won't say I'm the most spiritual or believing in signs and all that, but I couldn't help but think that maybe it was a sign, maybe it was something just telling me, just inquire, go and find out. So essentially just dropped him a message and just says, look, I'm just with curiosity reasons more than anything to start with. And I probably messaged him, actually probably about 1.5 years ago. I ended up messaging him first, maybe pushing 2 years. And I just said to him, you know, what's all this about? Gave me a bit of a lowdown of it, and then I just kind of ignored it then for about another 6 months, and I thought, whatever, it's just probably another one of them things, not really that interested. But then he kept posting and saying, is this? And I'm like, then curiosity takes over again, because there's something new that's come up. So I messaged him again 6 months later, and I said, so what is anyway, explained it again, and I just thought, well, sorry, I'll try it. I've got nothing else to go down, and you know, it keeps popping up, and I'm thinking, I'm just taking it as a sign, I'm just going to do it. And started out, and as you do, just thinking, well, you know, probably went in with, I think, like a skeptical mindset, and almost like, I want to try and find what's wrong with this, or where's the loophole, or what's. I almost went in with that mindset, so I'm always looking for, like, you know, what is it? What's actually the catch here? You know, and I think naturally as humans we kind of do that anyway with everything. We look for the catch, so to speak. So anyway, here I am, sort of 8-9 months down the line with what I still yet to find the catch. So yeah, it's been a crazy journey. I don't know if you want me to go into my journey in terms of how it started and now where I am, but I'll not go through the whole month by month, because there'll be some emotions flying about. But,
do you know what? If you're open to it, it would be fantastic for you to go through that whole journey, because I know, you know, that sharing this stuff can be quite a cathartic experience for people anyway. But you know, I speak to lots of people like you, and we know that we've got lots of members within Relentless who have that same backstory as yourself, and what I think makes a lot of people very similar to you is they have that sort of urge, that fire, that desire inside themselves, particularly around kids and particularly around younger kids. And, when they talk about what happened with themselves growing up, and they want to, not trying to sort of paint a picture or anything, because, I don't know you hugely well yet. But in terms of trying to break that generational cycle of, do you know what? I want something different that I didn't have for myself growing up. So if you don't mind going through your journey, I mean, stop whenever, it would be cool. Yeah, no. And I think it would really help lots of other people who are either within the community or on the fence about getting into the community. I just genuinely think you could help lots of people. That's all.
Yeah, no, of course. So when I'd first sort of started it and I took the plunge and I messaged Peter, said, "Yeah, let's go for it. Then let's see what it's all about." I didn't tell a single soul. I didn't tell anybody. So I thought to myself, I kind of knew, especially with my family and everybody's working in my family, 9 to 5s, and their sort of way is, oh no, you need to have a proper job and go out and earn your money and work for 10 hours a day, and that's how the sort of working background that I've come from. And I just silently went about it, learning. I was coming home, I was watching. I think initially there was about 5 months worth of actual sort of backlog of stuff that I needed to do. So I would just sit there for sometimes mind-numbingly just sitting there, watching the videos and having to probably give myself every day a break, because it's some of the stuff that I was taking on board. It was like, initially I was thinking, it's a lot coming back from work, then you're coming home, watching the videos, but eventually you just sort of, it was about a month in, I started to go, actually, I know what he's on about now, I know what he's talking about. And you start getting a lot more, well, for me personally, I was getting a lot more engaged with it. Even though I wasn't there on the calls necessarily, I was obviously listening, taking on board. Right, I've got my notebook all the time with me, and it's like anything in life. When you're starting out, it's tough, no matter what it is. If you start going to gym for the first time, it's tough, it's hard work, but then once you get into that routine, it's a lot easier. So I just watched, really, for the first month. I was just watching, seeing what was going off, what's really going on. And even after that month, I thought to myself, have I really learned anything? And I thought, well, we'll see. And then that's when I sort of opened my demo account, and I thought, well, let's have a sort of play around. And yeah, I mean, I'm a very competitive person. I think that's why I stuck at it. But and maybe you two could probably speak on behalf when you started your journeys, but I made a lot of mistakes, and even I wouldn't call myself the most computer literate in the world either. But it just took a lot out of me in the beginning. But once you get past that stage of like sort of understanding it, even just understanding it a little bit, you feel like you've made progress, and you think, oh, actually I understand that bit now. And then something else comes up, and then you understand that, and then that's how the sort of been a bit of a repetitive cycle probably for the last 6 months, I'd say. So that's how it is. I mean, there's no beating around the bushes. It's not exciting looking at charts, don't get me wrong, it's not the most thrilling, but I know I'd rather be doing that than out there delivering, chucking parcels here, there, and everywhere. So that's ultimately the goal. But the huge thing for me, and this would be my number one advice to anyone who was to get involved with it, is always have your reason why. If it wasn't for my little girl, I wouldn't have carried on. I guarantee I wouldn't have carried on. I would have stopped, because I thought, I just can't. It's too much. A lot getting on top of me. But I thought to myself, if I stop now, I'm going to be doing this forever, and I'm not going to have that time with her. She's going to get to 10, 11, 12 years old and probably have a more expensive appetite as well. And let's be honest, maybe a delivery driver's wage is not going to cater for that, especially with cost of living as well. So, yeah.
Andy knows all about food. Yeah. Andy's your food man. But I was going to say, it's just I want to do a shout out to all the dads in the group as well, because we have a lot of people in your situation, and that it's nice to see the drive, and there's a common theme there, like you said, isn't there, with the why you're doing it.
I just think it's so important, because it's, you can always say, oh, why do you want to do it? Oh, I want to make money. Well, everyone wants to make money, but you've got to have a bit more of a meaningful, deeper
Yeah,
reason to
yeah.
do it. And you know, not everyone who's watching this probably got kids, but you know, their why might be I want to go on a $5,000 holiday to Maldives or whatever. So that could be a big enough reason to want to, you know. And if you could earn that extra money from a side hustle or whatever you want to call it, then why not? But yeah, that was my initial reason to keep going. And like I said, it is
Sounds like a good one to
100%.
me.
And yeah, I'm like got very emotional
Yeah.
recently when I sort of got that email saying, you know, you are now a 400 trade. I know, and to me, it's the mindset side of things. In the start, I was almost like, oh well, the chart's got to go one way or another, so I can just sort of keep going. But it's having that, and Pete helped me with this a lot with just having that right mentality of, you know, if you do have a loser, it happens. Just coming up, just being able to go, do you know what? Then today's not the day. I'll come back the next day. But the same with the wins. I was getting myself into a bit of a bad cycle at the start where I'd start with $100,000 account, I'd get it up to 102 grand, but then I'd maybe put on a trade next day and it'd go back down to 101. I'd be like, shit, I need to get my 102. So it was like chasing the losses. But the moment you can master that, well, actually, that loss is probably a good thing. It was probably maybe out of the way now. So, you know, it's rather than chasing it, as soon as you start chasing it, that's what it'll just start going low. And then before you know it, you're like, shit, I'm in $3,000 drawdown. I need to chase that back now. So, yeah, it's about getting that right for me anyway. And like I said, Peter helped a lot with a lot of his videos. He talks about like just being able to like know when to come off the charts. You might not. I mean, last week, I don't think he didn't trade for 3 or 4 days, but then he had one trade which was 200 pips. It was like it's that one trade which can literally like you can earn a monthly wage in one trade, so you don't have to. I mean, in the beginning, I was like, I kept going and going and going. I was like, oh, surely it's like a coin flip. It's got to go up or down anyway. I'm sure they're going to get it right. But once you then master that for me was my turning point. Is when I mastered that mindset of you don't have to trade, just don't do it. You know, just go on. You know, it was about what did he say, Peter? One of the great things he said was like, it's not going on to see how much you can make, it's how much you can protect your account by. I think that was very powerful for me, and I was like, oh yeah, actually that resonated a bit more with me rather than just, you know, because at the beginning I was like, yeah, let's see if I can make £1,000 today, you know, let's see what I can do. But with that mindset, I quickly learned that wasn't the way to go. So yeah, it was it's very, very, very helpful, especially the live streams that Pete does. And I've actually been on them the last 2 weeks, quite sad. I've been writing a little bit, told him I went to Newcastle for a stag do. I'll let him know that. But I've just generally been sat quite quietly in the background, just sort of watching, learning, asking any questions on live if I did have any. But yeah, it's been quite emotional. There has been, and being completely honest, you know, I did have a failed account as well, but I think that's needed, you know, to show you the reality of it. And was I downhearted by it? Yeah, but was I down and out? Absolutely not. It just sort of motivated me to make sure. And then, you know, on the next one, I stayed extra disciplined, and you know, took me probably longer, but there's no time frame on it, which is the great thing as well. So maybe longer than anticipated, but I think, you know, done it. It is a very good lesson, and it's
and you can learn massively from it. Like you said, it's a bittersweet moment in some ways because it'll make you a better trader when you go on to the next one. Did you follow the process that we sort of recommend with all the demo accounts first and proving to yourself?
So I went on all the demo accounts, the and choose what you say. You have to try and pretend that it's a demo account, but even when you first go on, I'm sure it's going to be the case when I first do the first trade on my live account, but it's about just controlling the emotion. You know, when you're in the beginning on the demo account, I probably weren't taking it that seriously, if I'm being completely honest. You know, I was just putting trades on. But then again, on one of Pete's streams, he was just saying you have to take demo accounts really seriously, like it is your real money and it's yours. So, and then the moment I started doing that, start becoming a bit more confident and you know, a bit more disciplined, you know, focused. And it's completely changed. Just it's a lot of it is mindset is what I found. Like the teach what you guys teach is amazing, and I've learned so much, but it ultimately comes down to your mindset and, you know, when to place the trade and more importantly when not to. So You know, he always says, "Don't get FOMO, don't get FOMO." You know, because he'll be often on live stream saying, "This is probably going to do this," and he'll do it, and he says, "Look, it's fine." But he's always really calm about it. And in the beginning, I was like, "Well, you just missed out on about 20 minutes." But you know, it's the way it goes, and that's the way that he teaches, and it's been, like I said, emotionally a roller coaster, but it's been one definitely worth it, certainly. So
it sounds like you've been on and I hope you don't mind me saying this, but a huge journey yourself. Like at the start of this podcast, you seemed a bit down on yourself, talking about, you dropped out of college, you didn't go to uni, you didn't have a degree. It's all those sort of negative self-doubts that are coming in. But actually, having listened to you, it's a lot of it's you talk about start with why. It's a very famous book by Simon Sinek. I don't know if you've read it. Have you done any sort of personal development learnings along the way, or has all of this just come from association with the community and listening to the educators? Is that where that's come from, or have you done stuff outside working on your own mindset?
Yeah, no, I haven't, like, there's no books or anything. Like, I know people have recommended stuff in the group, but I haven't, like, read anything or done any, like, active self-development, if you can call it that, in terms of looking for ways. It was my reason was obviously always my daughter, and that's why I want to be in this position where I can maybe drop a few days now. I'm not saying immediately, but that's the goal. I think I've always had an end goal, is that I wanted to be a full-time trader. From the moment I started to get it, I thought, yeah, this is what I want to do. And then from that moment, I just religiously just listened, learned, made the mistakes, done everything that comes with it. And yeah, that's ultimately what I've been doing. So, and I mean, people probably watching this thinking, well, if he can do it, then I'm sure that I can do it. And yeah, I don't come from like a massively great upbringing, but it hasn't stopped me. And I think the two things is the eager to win, the competitiveness, and obviously the reason why I started this in the first place. So that's what's got me through.
And am I right in thinking, so you originally got on the monthly membership, you've not invested yet in the Dean? This is all from the indicators that come with the monthly membership, and do you use the trade ideas as well? Or is it, what strategy are you using? Don't want to give away any of your trade secrets or anything, but how do you got on?
Well, any trade secrets I've got, I've only learned from you guys anyway, so they'll know them all anyway. But no, yeah, I don't have the deed. It was something that I obviously saw in the beginning, and I thought, well, I'll sort of take it one step at a time, and I sort of invested in the monthly. But this has all happened just from the monthly membership. So if people are thinking, they're a bit skeptical about joining, thinking, oh, you're gonna have to buy the Dean, buy the monthly, and then pay extra after. I've just paid my monthly membership every month, and that's it. Everything else, I've learned. I've had numerous one-to-ones with Pete, who's been helping me along the way, and that's all I've invested in financially. Hopefully, should the funded account go well, I would be looking to invest. Yeah, when I'm making some big, nice, juicy withdrawals, I'll be certainly looking at investing in the Dean. But I just sort of wanted to take it one step at a time. I mean, there'll probably be people watching or people who do start out who get everything to begin with, but even the ones who might not be, quite like me, I could speak on maybe behalf of people in a situation like this. I financially wasn't there or not there to purchase the Dean, but the investing the amount monthly was something I could do, and it's 100% been worth it every single month without fail.
And in terms of is there a specific strategy? Yeah, do you scalp? Do you stick to a specific pair? Are you more of a swing trader, a day trader? Or does it vary? Or how's your
so it's predominantly scalp. It's predominantly scalping with Pete. To be honest with you, so I'm often using his. We obviously taught the Meraki method. I know it was. I'm not sure how long ago it was introduced, but I watched up team videos on him talking about it, and the actual concept of it is really simple as well. Like, people can often look at charts and go, when I first opened up TradingView, I was like, what the fuck is this? What's going on here? There's bid, retract, this, that, the other, diagonal, and I started playing around with it. I'm like, am I gonna have to be using all it? honestly, I don't think I've ever used anything else other than a horizontal line and the long and short position. That's pretty much it. And with Meraki, it's obviously more scalping than anything, and I've been putting on smaller lot sizes from when I've seen the trade ideas. Obviously, I know hindsight's one thing, but I know like last week was a fantastic week on the trade ideas, and that's actually what took me over the line to get to the funded stage. So
Amazing.
yeah, without them trade ideas, I'd probably still be going at it now, to be honest. So yeah, because there was quite a few put in. I know they just come in as and when. Like I don't think there's any been put in today, but like there'll be a day where there'll be 4 or 5 going, and they'll all be really good, positive results. I don't think I've ever seen. I mean, I'm just trying to think of a time. I think it's 4 out of 5. I think the least I've ever seen. In terms of at least hitting TP1. So yeah, they definitely. I've gained a lot more trust in them, and I know it's come from the dean. So obviously, in the beginning, as I said at the start, I'm always a bit skeptical about everything. So when I see them, and then you see they starting to work, and you're like, well, actually, then I'll just maybe put a bit of a smaller lot on one, because I don't really do a lot of the other, the 4x pairs. I try and stick to gold, but when you see that they're working and they are hitting target price, you think, well, I want a bit of that. I want a bit of that cake. So yeah, I got in on it, and fortunately, it took me over the line. So yeah, it's definitely helped a lot.
And now that you're 6-figure funded trader, are we getting ditched, or do you think you'll stay as a Relentless member?
Oh no, absolutely not. If I'm on the scale of how much I've learned, I'd probably say I've learned 1% of the trading. I know Pete's always saying he's learning all the time as well, and I just I don't think I'll now, for as long as I'm here, I don't think I'll ever be ditching Relentless, because not to get too dramatic and not teary, but it's probably going to change my life. If anything, to keep me focused as well, on the reason why. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster of emotions, but one that's definitely been worth it. And it's like the snowball effect. I'm sort of like, I feel like I've got to the top of the hill. I know there's going to be still bumps in the road. I'm not naive enough to think that this is it and I've made it. Absolutely not. For me, this is just the beginning. But yeah, sort of without Relentless, I absolutely couldn't have made this happen, and that's absolutely guaranteed.
Bless you. I'm super chuffed for you. And just before we wrap up this week's episode, so is there plans now to obviously continue trading this first 6-figure funded account sensibly, with small lot sizes, practice and risk management, everything that you've learned along the way and going to learn in the future? And then is there plans for additional prop firms to spread that risk across numerous different prop firms? Have you got yourself a 2-year goal, 5-year goal? Have you got stuff written on whiteboards? Have you got your vision board sorted out? What's next for Jack?
I've got my little blue book. I don't have a big whiteboard yet. I can't afford one, but soon I will. I'll have a big whiteboard on my bedroom wall soon. But no, the ultimate end goal for me is I do want to have multiple accounts. That's like my end goal is. Like, and I don't ever think anything's too ambitious. I've read the 10x rule by Grant Cardone, fantastic book.
Good guy.
I always believe in times it by 10, and but I don't see any reason why not. Like, my end goal is to get. I could potentially have 5 200,000 account, which is £1 million in funding.
Yep.
And as Pete constantly says all the time, he says, even if you make 1 or 2% on an account, times it by 5. Over the course of a month, that soon becomes that's constantly on my mind, and I'm thinking, well, you could then maybe make 1 or 2 trades, maybe max a month, and it's a month's and more's work. So that always sticks with me, and I think the end goal for me is £1 million funding. I'm not going to lie, and why not?
Nothing
I'm
wrong
10%
with that.
of the way there.
That's a good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Jack. A truly extraordinary, humbling story. of grit, determination, and just proving, of what can be done in this industry. I don't think there's anything wrong with a healthy degree of skepticism at all. And that goes for everyone out there as well. And it would be fantastic to get you back on the podcast in maybe a few months' time, just to find out where you're up to in terms of your journey. As you say, I'm sure there's going to be some bumps in the road along the way, but if that's okay, that'd be cool to find out where you're at. For those who are listening, please drop any comments via social media or via the YouTube, and anything else that you want us to cover in the future. But that's all from me. Anything from yourself? Last few remarks from you, Vicky?
No, nothing from me. Just say massive thank you and well done. And like Andy said, looking forward to seeing where you are in a couple of months.
Me too.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
Amazing. All right, guys. Catch you next week.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
Cheers.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Bye.